This is a redirect video for Konosuba episode 4, 5, and 6 of season 2. Yeah, it was a pretty quick batch. Not much beyond the 3 episodes. There wasn't any kind of openings or endings that we had to see or anything like that. Just 3 episodes. So click in the link in the description below to go watch my interaction, and then come back here to see my full thoughts, ideas, and theories about these episodes and what's to come and such like that. It might not be a real long redirect, but I'll talk about a few things. So click away now or be spoiled as to what happened in these episodes. Okay, so a pretty fun little group episodes. A lot of like kind of teasing and like that kind of thing between the characters and everything. Um, my theory on Darkness was correct. She was being married off basically. Um, I didn't. One thing I didn't call was it was like the son or whatever. Like it wasn't the actual like Duke or whatever the guy that like she originally had the deal with or whatever. It wasn't to him. That's what I was thinking, like marrying him kind of thing. But it was to his son, I guess, or something like that, or somebody else. I think it's the son of the guy. Anyways, so I've got a whole episode based around her and her family and everything, and their plan to most of them wanted to stop it, and then freaking Cosmo wanted to go through with it, so that way Darkness didn't come back to them, kind of thing, because he wanted to get her off the team. Um, so I feel like at some point they're gonna realize that Cosmo's trying to slowly like push him away, kind of thing, so that we can get someone better to join the team, kind of thing. But at this point, I think they're starting to grow on Cosmo. Very little. Sorry, I used to hit my table. They're starting to grow on him little by little, right? It's just like it's becoming like the norm, just like they're his friends in a way, family kind of thing, just like at given time. Because they've been like, adventuring together for a couple seasons now, I think, in terms of like winter and fall and whatever. Just that they've been like obviously Cosmo and Aqua have been there for probably a year to like more because we did see have a scene where Cosmo and Aqua were both in the winter kind of thing. So either that was I think it was this is still winter. So I think it hasn't been a year yet. But they're still in like the winter era kind of thing. So they were in um, fall and everything like that. So we're probably going to see spring come about, maybe. Not sure. They talked about it, so it stands to reason they're still kind of yeah. They're pretty much almost over with winter season. Um, so we're probably going to see some stuff with that maybe because we only have a couple more episodes left. We have 7 through 10 um, plus the OVA. So they might not actually get past winter. I mean, I don't know. They could do like a time skip or something like that, just like a couple days skip or like a week skip or something like that, like they did in the past, where the seasons change, kind of thing. So that can definitely happen. I'm sure. But yeah, so we had the whole thing about darkness and everything, about being married off, and Cosmo's plan to go through with it, but everybody else was wanting to stop it. Um, Darkness's plan, like once she realized that Cosmo wanted to go through with it, at the very beginning, whatever, she started to try to thwart his plan, like just destroy the whole arrangement herself, fight the guy that she was trying to marry, or she was arranged to marry, and have him concede all kind of stuff, and then fight Cosmo for it, or show him, just like the person that she wants, or whatever. Um, and that scene was freaking silly. Like then just like I was it was so interesting to see Darkness just like ultimately just like fight back and like almost like break his arms, kind of thing, just the sheer strength that she has. Um but ultimately Kazuma got to her by talking about all naughty things or do whatever. Just the idea of like what he might do to her, thanks to the bet they made prior or for that battle together, and it made her just like go nuts with like fantasies or whatever, and she just dropped the ground. Actually, no, she did drop, but she basically climaxed. So that was pretty interesting. Made her pass out and all that kind of stuff, but literally Kazuma's arms breaking, like just like you can hear him like kind of whatever, just like kind of shattering a little bit here and there. Not shattering, but just like it seemed like they were starting like to break or whatever, just like the sheer force, and then just he started getting the upper hand. Um, but the thing that I keep like thinking back to is after she woke up and or yeah, Cosma and the knight or whatever the guy, the prince, whatever. Um, After they started talking and everything, saying that like she's better off with Cosma, um, that he was gonna like leave basically, or he was okay with like it basically. Them and the king both were like saying like she's going to Cosmo again, like whatever. She wakes up and then says like we're not gonna do this thing, and he just goes along with it, like almost like it was her idea, which is kind of cool. So I wonder if we're gonna probably see him again. Probably not. Maybe I'm not sure. Um, but I liked how uh, he kind of just went along with it, kind of thing. He's like, "All right," just like even if like that was the plan anyways, but like he just went along with it. Anyway, so the thing that I keep going back to is Darkness saying that she was about to give birth, just like she was like she has Cosmo's child kind of thing, and that was when the knight was like he's like all right whatever, and then just leaving kind of thing. But the dad, like oh my gosh, the dad's gonna be so heartbroken when he realizes that it was a flub or whatever, like because it looked like he genuinely wanted like a grandchild kind of thing, like he wanted a kid, like a grandkid. um so getting his hopes up like that and then just ultimately crushing it is just gonna be it's not gonna be good. I could definitely see him maybe lashing out towards Kazuma because of this or something like that, right? Just like something, because Kazuma always is always the one to blame. Like whenever like, anything comes up, like so that was pretty bad. So we're gonna probably see something like that maybe later on. I'm not sure. We're probably never gonna touch like most of these things. I can definitely see them never touching on again. Just little things here and there, and then they just never pick up on again. But yeah, it's just one thing that to look out for later on to see if the dad does anything about realizing that he's not going to get a grandchild kind of thing. But the episodes are pretty cool. We had a dungeon fight versus the another lieutenant of the army and everything. He was a puppet master. He made clay and then he turned the clay into dolls. Dolls went out. His idea was to go clear out the dungeon with his dolls, so that way it's fully his, and then take over the dungeon, fill it with his own monsters and like his own traps and all that kind of thing, and then become the final boss of the dungeon. So that way, when adventurers come to like, clear the dungeon out, they get through all the traps, all the monsters, everything. They fight all the way through it, get to him, defeat him in a battle, only to realize that the box of treasure at the very end was nothing. That was his ultimate goal. Was he wanted to be a boss in a dungeon, and he wanted to thwart everything adventurers stood for was to gain treasure at the very end kind of thing. He wanted to become a boss, die by their hands, only to like start to like go away once he sees that they're like speechless, like there's no treasure, and then like he's like like vanishing away kind of thing. So that was actually pretty interesting because there's not many. There's like probably nothing on well, I shouldn't say nothing. There's probably something out there, but I don't know about it. There's nothing out there that I know of that touches on bosses in video games and how they want to be there or are there kind of thing. Like we never get to see the boss's like mindset of like why they're there kind of thing. Um, so it's really interesting to see this guy's perspective on it. He wanted to become a boss so that way he can die a boss and thwart all of their plans, basically for being like the one to defeat them kind of thing. You never get to see that. You just see like a big monster at the end of a dungeon, and you're like, let's kill it. And then just like you killed it, gain treasure. All right, job's done. Let's get out of here and go to the next dungeon, kind of thing. Like just like that's like the cycle. You just keep going through dungeons, clear it out, defeat the boss, get the treasure, leave, go do another one. So it's really interesting to see the boss's perspective on like what he wanted to do with it, because he found like a dungeon, but like there's a couple. I guess there's a couple monsters still in there. But the end room of the dungeon was sealed off thanks to Aqua. She'd made the ring or whatever to basically prevent monsters from entering it, which I thought was meaning that monsters were literally trying to get to that room, but they were prevented from doing so because of the circle. So they left the dungeon because they couldn't do anything there. That's what I was thinking when they were first talking about it. But it turns out it's just like a new guy kind of thing. So that's pretty interesting. So yeah, so we had a really interesting experience with fighting him and everything. Darkness becoming the one who was taken over by the guy, and then having a eternal struggle between the two, which was really funny. Like Darkness just like ultimate like troll, like with when she was like taking like I just loved it. It was so freaking funny when the boss guy was trying to talk and he'd get interrupted by Darkness saying something like weird, and then it switches back to him talking like mid sentence. He got so frustrated to the point where he's just like, "Can you stop? Like, just stop for a second!" Like he's trying to explain something, and it's just like he's get cut off. Like it's so freaking funny. Like it reminds me of like in video games where you can like skip text, kind of thing. Like it reminds me of something like that. Like you're talking to a boss and you're like skip text, It's just like get to the end, let's do this, like kind of thing. So like that's pretty much what Darkness was doing. She was just like skipping the text to get to the next or whatever, or skipping the text, but then like he just gets mad about it. He's like, "Can't you stop? Like Jesus!" But it's so freaking funny. But yeah, her just willingness to like her weirdness about Darkness and everything, about how she wants to be like I guess the boot of everybody, or under the boot of everybody, or whatever her weirdness about her that she wants to be. I mean, she could do her. It's her body. Anyways, it was really funny to see her start to enjoy it, and he's like, "You're enjoying this, aren't you?" like it was kind of funny. Like when he realized what was happening, like he's like, "You're really enjoying this, aren't you?" But yeah, so it was actually pretty funny when he was running up the stairs. I was saying like maybe because he's running up so quickly, that Megumin was going to like just detonate the door like instantly, because like it just like scares her kind of thing, just like ah! Like just like, and then, like just shoots a bolt of explosion magic, whatever. But it ended up being Aqua because she sensed like evil coming up the way, so she just started casting immediately, and then once it popped in, just like just a big explosion. But we did get to see a pretty big explosion with Megumin. Anyways, we got to see basically her full power. Obviously her full power, but we got to like see what level she is now. In a way, because before we've seen her do small explosions at the castle, the Doulahan castle, whatever. She kind of went back every day, started exploding stuff, whatever like that. Then we saw her do a couple more explosions that are pretty big outside the city. When Kazuma was in the jail and everything, we got to see stuff like that. Then we got to see the nuke, the gigantic freaking nuke that went off when they were fighting the fortress. And then now this one, which is so much bigger. It was humongous freaking explosion, which I love. I love big explosions like that. But yeah, so an immense freaking explosion, so much so that Darkness was the focal point of the explosion. But the crater that she was in was just like, it was super freaking huge crater. She was right in the center of it. clothes nearly just blown off. The mask was gone, which turns out later we find out that he just gave up a life kind of thing. Like that was like, it makes so much sense now that why he wants to die is because like he has different lives. Like so like, but like in terms of like games and everything, bosses can respawn, like and is do the dungeon over again kind of thing. The dungeon resets and like they can do it over again. So it makes sense that he wanted to die so that way he can respawn and do it again, you know, kind of thing. So I wonder how many respawns he has because right now he's like two. He's two. He's at number two on his mask now. So I'm wondering if he's going to purposely try to kill himself over and over again for certain dumb reasons, whatever, just to do it, just so that way he can like start like racking up those kills or deaths or whatever. So that's pretty funny. And then we had an entire episode based around a new quest that came about, trying to stop these lizard people that are like they're runners, I guess. That's what they're called. Running through the countryside, and their plan to stop it basically, but was ultimately thwarted, which was really funny. Like the only thing they actually successfully did was to kill the queen runner. I guess the king, because they're seeing the king and the queen were like the fastest ones. So Jesus Christ. Sorry, that was my my computer. Um, so yeah, so they successfully killed the queen. It landed in the tree with Cosmo, so he like fell out of the tree, causing him to literally snap his neck. Like he literally snapped his neck. You got to see the goddess again. Eris, I think is her name. The one goddess, the good one, the the kind goddess, which I really do love. She's pretty cool. Um, Apparently she goes to the surface world every once in a while just to hang out, kind of thing, which is kind of interesting. So I wonder if we're going to be able to see her in the world, just like out in the open, kind of thing, just walking around or at a church, you know, whatever, just at one of her churches. Because that's one thing I'm still waiting for. I'm still waiting for Aqua to go to her church to meet with her brotherhood or you know whatever, just like her church, and see the reaction to them, like when they find out it's your goddess. Like I want that so badly. Anyways, so yeah, so we had a fun time with Eris, I think her name is, with the goddess, that Kazuma was talking about, him falling for her and all kind of stuff, which is kind of cool. Um, but obviously, Megumin came up with a plan to like get him back to the world because he was saying like, you know, forget about me, I'm gonna respawn like as a child again, kind of thing. And then Megumin was like, not happening. And just like I guess took off his shirt or whatever, and then started writing on his chest. And we know now it's just saying Excalibur or something like that, or my mighty sword Excalibur. I can't remember how it was, but it's pointing at his as you know what. So it was pretty funny to see that, like Megumin just do that. And it was pretty funny to see Darkness like just completely just ashamed of herself just by like just seeing him, because she knows what Megumin wrote, which is really funny. So I think that's it. If there's anything that I missed, please let me know, and I'll talk to you guys down in the comments below, as always. But let me know what your favorite part of this episode were. My favorite part was explosions, obviously the gigantic like huge nuke, just like explosion. Um, but oh yeah, one thing, yeah. Kazuma actually making stuff from his world, our world basically, the human world, um, into their world. Like that was pretty cool. Like he's doing the katana, where he made it a short blade, but he made a katana, and then he had to shorten it. But then also the armor, as well as the table, I guess, like that he made. He made like a Japanese table, I guess. The ones with like the kind of um, I'm not sure exactly like what the what it's called, the table, but like it's just a normal table, but it has like a sheet over it, like this, it's like a typical like a Japanese table. Anyways, he made that, and he was just under there for some reason, whatever. I guess like the only place of home that he like wants or whatever. Anyways, it's cool that he's actually making stuff from from our world, in their world kind of thing. I guess he taught the blacksmith a new technique about making swords and everything, so that's pretty cool. So I'm wondering if we're gonna actually see some stronger swords out there in the world now, like, because like that's almost like in video games terms, like there you have like a bunch of stone swords and iron swords or whatever, but then all of a sudden someone just kind of pops into the world and be like, hey, if you do this, they'll be harder, like just like or stronger, what metal or whatever like that, and it just all of a sudden kicks off like this huge like tier of weapons that like are way stronger than like anything else imaginable kind of thing. So it's gonna be interesting to see if that blacksmith kind of takes that style of making swords and he kind of does it his own way to make it like, or like just make another katana kind of thing, just like make something like of the human world and then just sell it off as like a unique legendary item. Just something like that, like it would be funny. Okay, so yeah, if you have anything else that I didn't mention, lose my voice, Jesus Christ, let me know down below in the comments below. I will see you guys next week for 7 through 10 and maybe the OVA. Not sure yet, but we'll get around to that next week. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys in next week's reaction. Thank you, everybody.